What's up, guys? We are back from USA on Dirt, and man, was it a long trip. So for those that don't know, USA on Dirt was a journey that Krsiti and I just took across the United States and back. It was a 31-day journey, and we camped every single day except for 2 days. We stayed at a hotel outside of Idaho and then a hotel in Las Vegas, and it was roughly about 11,000 miles, with the first 5,000 miles being on an off-road trail called the Trans-America Trail, which is from the North Carolina mountains all the way to the Oregon coastline. And then from there we went down to Pismo Beach. From Pismo Beach we went to Los Angeles and Hollywood and Beverly Hills and all that area. Quickly left all that hustle and bustle and went straight to the desert in the Mojave Road, where there was absolutely nobody. Went from the Mojave Road to Las Vegas. From Las Vegas we went to Zion National Park. From Zion National Park we went down to the Toro Weep Lookout, which is basically we held our feet and dangled our feet over the Grand Canyon, which was a really cool experience. From there we went to Monument Valley and Valley of the Gods and just saw some amazing rock formations. From there we went to Amarillo, Texas. Went from Amarillo, Texas to Fort Worth, played around in the Fort Worth Stockyards, and then from the Fort Worth Stockyards we went to Talladega National Forest and then hustled straight back home right here in the beautiful Lexington, South Carolina. So roughly 11,000 miles. I didn't keep up with the miles. What I wanted to do today was I wanted to show you guys everything that I brought with us and how it fared. If I'm definitely going to bring it on the next trip that I go on, if I'm definitely not going to bring it on the next trip that I go on, and if I maybe could or could not live without it. So let's take a look. We're hung up on something, Bobby. Okay, so first thing is the chairs. Yes, necessity. You got to bring those, right? So we got that chair. My granddad gave me that chair. This chair here is one that we picked up for Krsiti. So nothing special. These are just regular run-of-the-mill fold-up chairs. Bag of straps. This is going to be a yes and maybe. Alright, so this bag of straps, no. Maybe a small container with some straps in it, yes. A lot smaller than this. You do not need this many straps. I was just being lazy and wanted to keep the same bag that I already had. But I definitely will be downsizing this. So this is a project that I'm going to be working on. 5 gallon of water, 5 gallon of water, so it's 10 gallons of water. Now what I do like about having two separate things of water is I can use one as gray water and I can use one as drinking water, or I can use them both as drinking water. What I found is that if you find a Walmart somewhere along your trip, which Walmarts are absolutely everywhere, if you find a Walmart, you can fill one of these up for like $2, depending on where you're at. I guess it would probably depend on the price. But anyway, you can fill one of those up for around $2. That's just something that you should just have on hand at all times anyway in your regular arsenal of things that you carry around your house. 10 gallons of water, definitely. Fold up table. This was provided via my cousin over at Fence Pros SC, and he let me borrow this unwillingly. It was a negotiated term. I had to wait him out. Kept telling me no. I've messed it up to the point that I'm probably going to end up having to buy one anyway and just give him that one. So, nonetheless, so the Plano boxes were a really good idea. Compartmentalizing everything. I had started to where I basically wanted a Plano box for everything. So I had a Plano box for the tent setup and for bedding and everything like that. And then I got a Plano box for all the different kitchen and everything like I showed you. That system works out very well. I've got another little Plano box which is like dry food, so consider that like a pantry style system, or pantry style. I could probably add one more Plano box or something, but I think that what I'm going to do, we had a casualty because of the wind. It blew over my camera. Anyway, so what I was saying is I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a containment system. So stay tuned. I'm still designing that out, but I'm working on something. I'm thinking about something. The Mr. Buddy. Mr. Buddy is a definite if you're going to be in if you're going to be in cold weather area, it heats up okay. Probably the bigger one probably does better. The only thing that I don't like is I've got a strong hatred towards these one pound propane bottles. I really dislike them, and that's the only way that you can use that. So I would trade it out for something that's that can hook up to a bigger propane bottle, because as you'll see in just a second, I got a 5-pound propane bottle, which is phenomenal. Yeah, this right here is a one of those like Stanley metal with the 2 little plastic cup things. Yes, bring this with you. It works well. So as I said, this is basically the bedding. So I think the easiest way to do it from here is just to take you inside. This is that's the kitchen box, right? That's the bedding box. I'll go over those individually, what I have. Those were stacked right there. Right here is my propane. This is a 5-gallon propane tank that I picked up for $49.99 at a little store in Idaho, and I think it's called Rexburg. And this is a phenomenal investment because I love the fact that you can just refill this up for minuscule amounts of money, and it's like having 5 of those little $3 or $2 or whatever, however much you're spending on the 1 pounds, that are a complete waste to the environment. Behind that, you'll see I've got the tire plug kit and duct tape. You definitely have to have duct tape. Now, that propane tank just fits just absolutely perfectly right there. And I think that I've got a quick fist system that I may try to put right there. But overall, I'm trying to design something. So I'm thinking. I'm still thinking. I'm thinking that I might be able to build some kind of a platform, little camper thing inside here. So I'm thinking about it. After all, I don't need the back seats in my vehicle. If we ever do need back seats, Kristi's got a nice Chevrolet Colorado that fits 4 people that we can use. So anyway, that's where the 5-pound propane sits, and it just absolutely fits perfect. Right back here, what do we have? We've got a battery charger. So yes, so if you're using the Garmin eTrex 20 like I was in order to navigate over the Transamerica Trail, I had downloaded the map into there as kind of like a hard thing, just in case you don't have service. These are very useful for that because it does go through some batteries, and I'll go over that Garmin real quick. Okay, so here is the Garmin. This is the Garmin eTrex 20. Now, the Garmin eTrex 20, it worked out very good. If you could think analog GPS. So what I mean by that is this is just bare bones GPS. I was able to download the tracks that I needed for the trail that I took, and I was able just to follow a purple line across with this. And if I did have cell phone service here and there, then I could figure out some other things. So I cross-referenced with this, the truck's GPS, as well as cell phone GPS from Verizon and from AT&T, both carriers. I had one phone for each. But this is a very cool handheld. Just like I said, it's just an elementary GPS that just, you know, it just works. It just tells you where you're at. It's not going to be super detailed, although you could probably download some maps and make it super detailed, but pretty cool nonetheless. You can take it with you. What I prefer is charge up the batteries with the rechargeable AA's there, and I plugged it back in there, and it worked out very well for us on our trip. And yeah, so that's my review on the eTrex 20. Would I take it with me again? Definitely gonna have to come. Plastic bags, yes, keep the plastic bags. Anytime you go somewhere, keep some plastic bags with you. I've stuck them right back there behind there out the way. Also keep some of the rattling down, which is another added benefit, right? So I call these my personal trasharoo because I can hang them on my hitch here, and that could be my trash bag, and I just dump it out whenever I get along to the next spot. Plastic bags are a must. Definitely bring them. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is my solar shower. First of all, let me start off by saying this hose is not long enough. I'm going to be looking for some kind of replacement for this hose, or some kind of an alternative. This hose sprayer was fine, although it is a little bit too big to fit up underneath there where I had it. More plastic bags, see? up underneath there where I had it. So I have to figure something out with that. But it doesn't really bother me. It's just a decorative rubber piece anyway. You don't really see, you can still use it. Anyway, the shower itself, it's hard to say whether or not I could or could not live without it. So I could live without it because there's like truck stops and showers and places a lot of times. But there again, there's a lot of places too where there's not, I guess. So for instance, had we used it at, or we used it at Moab. Moab was perfect. The weather was right. But I did notice that if the ambient temperature was relatively cool, it was hard for that thing to really heat up. And also, we drove from almost until dark or until past dark each time that we drove. So if we had stopped at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, perhaps it would have been easier. But we did get to use it, so I could live with it or I could live without it on that particular trip. I think that on some trips, though, it would be very useful. I'm going to figure out some kind of additional alternatives as well with that. So stay tuned. Okay, so underneath there you see some papers, some just old newspapers. Yes, bring those with you. They're good fire starter. Also, the channel locks, bring those with you too. They're good for just about anything that you would need them for. And those Fisker 13-inch saw. Yeah, definitely a must. For the money, it's a no-brainer. Get you one of them. Really cool, a lot easier to chop up firewood. Just a really cool device to have. Okay, so this is the Coleman Sleeping Pad. This one is a very inexpensive version of the sleeping pad. You can get sleeping pads for God. You can spend all kinds of money. I really like the idea of a sleeping pad. I think it's almost a little bit better than the air mattress idea, just because it's a whole lot easier and it's containable. But for 2 people, the air mattress is definitely a good deal. Now, so this right here works out perfect whenever I'm truck camping, because I can lay it down straight on back right there, and it works out very well. And that's what I used it for the majority of the time. I've had this for 2 years. It survived the first Trans-America Trail trip that I did, which was #TrailOnTat, and then it survived this one too, although it does have like some kind of a leak, and I think that it's not even a leak in the material. I think that it may actually be a leak in the valve. Maybe it just needs to reset itself, because sometimes it leaks and sometimes it doesn't. So very odd. But anyway, this is a very good piece. For the money, I can't complain. The only thing that did happen is immediately when I first got it, the little straps that hold it together broke. But I have extra nylon straps that I strap it up with, and it works out perfect. I would say this is definitely a must if you're looking to go budget wise. This is a must. Get one of these. I'll provide a link to it in the bottom of my page here, or the bottom of my channel. Or if you want to, spend big money, I would hope that you get what you pay for if you spend big money. Again, I'm trying to come up with a different idea for what I'm going to do personally, but more power to you. If you want this one, just follow the link down at the bottom of this video. So this right here is an Ozark Trail sleeping bag that I got from Walmart, and it's like I think it's a 30 or 40 degree bag. Anyway, I got it because we did get cold. The only downfall I have is the zippers are flimsy. They're not real big, which I'd prefer a bigger zipper if it's going to have zippers. I hate zippers because they always get hung up on each other. But this is cool and aggravating all in the same, that you can totally disconnect it. So that's really my only gripe there. Other than that, it's a really good, cool mummy bag. It's only like 24 bucks, so pretty neat. It's got a little pocket right there. You can put your cell phone and stuff in. So kudos to Ozark Trail. Pretty cool. Yeah, 25 bucks. I'm definitely going to bring that with me again. Yeah, so the come along, I'm going to go with can or cannot. So I think that a built-on winch system would be far better, absolutely 100%. But if you just don't have one, this guy right here might be able to help you out in a pinch. But anyhow, I'd say definitely want to bring them if you don't have a winch, I guess, or something that will make do as a sort of winch. Yeah, some kind of recovery strap is a definitely take that with you. I would say just keep recovery straps in your rig at all times, really. While I'm back here, I can't help but to talk about what goes right here. What goes right here is the EndLB Fridge. And I'll use some kind of fancy editing thing on my phone to flash to a picture of what it looks like from right around this angle. So imagine that there, and that's where it plugs into. It's right there. And as you can see, we're at 12.1 volts, and it's actually on because I'm listening to the music while I unpack. And it hasn't been ran really since we got back, which is on Sunday. It is now Wednesday. Anyway, I'm going to do a full review on the fridge because the fridge is just an absolute game changer. I'd highly recommend anybody getting a fridge. This particular one worked out phenomenal for my needs. It's the EndLB, and I will, like I said, I'll put a link to a video where I do a review on that fridge. Alright, this right here is the little air compressor that I brought with me, and I would definitely take it again. Again, if I could find some way to make it smaller, then I probably would, but I'd definitely take this again because it is an invaluable piece of machinery. If I can make it smaller and more efficient, in other words, it works faster to pump up the tires, then that would be cool too. But either way, it works in a pinch. So in the episode where we're in Pismo Beach, we find out that this has actually been in our tire, and so I had to use the tire plug system and this guy in the middle of Pismo Beach to plug the tire, and it worked, and it worked phenomenally well. So like I said, in a pinch, that's the way to go. That was my setup. Cheap stuff too, man. This is all pretty economical stuff. So this is the small tent. You'll often hear about us talk about the small tent in the video series #USA on dirt, and this is the small tent. It's a little 4-person. It's called the Sun Dome though, and one thing we realized real quick is the Sun Dome is not good for really cold weather, but you know, it's still a really good tent. Says it's tested up to 35 miles an hour. I don't know about that. The winds got up pretty good at a couple times, and it kind of went in on itself just a little bit, to the point that we actually moved it one night and packed everything up. Now I don't know how fast the winds were going though. They were whipping pretty good. So, but nonetheless, it was a good tent for the most part. But that's what we referred to as the little tent. And I would definitely take it or something similar with me on the next trip. Although if I'm by myself, it's just more efficient to camp inside the 4Runner. And that's what I'm working on. These are the piles of wood that I found. And actually in the same exact place that I was telling you the winds got up so bad. In Utah is where we were. Anyway, I think those are very useful for multiple different things. I just haven't quite figured it out yet. Krsiti wants to nail them all together, but if you nail them all together, then it kind of limits your possibilities. You can only go with that one way, so I'd just rather have them with us, and we can build little things out of it. And I'm recycling too, because we found those just kind of laying there in the wood pile. So, you know, reuse. Puma's like, alright, I've had it. I'm ready to go for a ride. This is Big Tent, and this one is an instant pop-up thing that is 11 foot by 9 foot. So it gets up there, and it can be set up in 60 seconds. Takedown's a little bit, not takedown, but fold up. Fold up is a little tougher than that, but. Anyway, that's Big Tent, and that was provided to us by 𝐼𝙗𝙗, one of our good friends, and that was a really cool tent. especially if the weather was bad. But both of the tents, no matter which one it is, if it's raining or snowing, they're not ideal at all. Not a good situation if it's raining or snowing. The dogs have full on taken over at this point. They're like full on ready to go. Anyway, right down here real quick, I've got a Craftsman like tool set. I gotta give them a Aura, which is R-I-D-E, but you can't say it or spell it because they know. Anyway, it's one of them. Yeah, it's just a hard case full of tools and random stuff. If you could find a smaller setup, that would be more ideal. Again, but I'm working on something because there's a lot of space. I could probably bring less hats or find a different place to put them, like maybe a loft or something. Hats and jackets. Shoes are another issue. 2 pair of shoes max would be all I would bring. We also found roll charts along the way. I'm not going to show you what they look like, but if you can send me a message some kind of way, tell me what they look like and tell me where you lost them. These might be yours, and I'd be happy to send them back to you because I've got the GPS maps, and those roll charts are hard to read, so more power to you. These lamps, I keep these lamps in every box, so each box got its own lamp. So kitchen lamp, then you got a bed lamp, and then you got a lamp for in the food and in the truck itself. So lamps, these lamps are very good. Another thing that I really like is the headlamps, which I'll show you those too. The Lightspeed 2-person airbed, absolutely great buy. This was like $80, I think, and I'll put a link to it. $80, and this thing was awesome. If I could actually find a way to get a sleeping pad similar to this, then I would definitely be interested in that for a single person deal. But for 2 people, this is a very good option. Alright, so as far as bed box goes, basically it's in here you have a sleeping bag for Krsiti, and then another sleeping bag in the bottom for me, which is like a army sleeping bag that my buddy gave me. It's a lightweight army sleeping bag, but it's definitely lightweight. I think if you just have 2 of these styles right here, you'd be just fine. And these are 30-degree ones that I got from like Walmart or something. And then in that little duffel bag's pretty cool because it kind of keeps it all contained. These right here are these blow up pillows. They're okay for keeping your regular pillows in place. So in between the walls of the tent and stuff like that, to keep your regular pillows in place. As far as sleeping on those solely, no. But keeping your regular pillow in place, it works out pretty good. Alright, so the box that counts, right? The kitchen box. This Coleman simple stove here, awesome. Whether or not you get this one or not is up to you. This one was worked fine for both trips. Cast iron pan, absolutely. That's a must. And this cast iron skillet is a must. As you can see, that's the percolator there, which is also a must. But it does take up a lot of room. I kept it in the boxes and that one's kind of expensive, but I chose that one for a reason. And the main reason is because it only takes up that much room. The other ones seem to take up a lot more room. And I just set the cast iron right on top of it. And normally I try to keep like a paper towel or something there, but as you can see, as time goes on, you just hurry up and the paper towel ends up getting thrown down there. Alright, so this is a really cool deal here. It's a little pot that came with 2 little plastic containers on the inside. Let me show them to you. Alright, so here's the 2 little containers right here that it comes with inside this little pot. Only problem is that pot, it the coating wears off if you use metal utensils, which is really all we had. And that coating wears off, and so now I'm going to have to deem this pot not worthy of going on another adventure, because I don't like eating that stuff, because it can't be good for you. Making macaroni and cheese, think you got pepper in the macaroni and cheese, and this is the bottom of your pot. That ain't good at all. Okay, so from here we've got an adapter so I can use the 5-pound propane. That's a must. You're going to bring that with you wherever you go from now on if you got a 5-pound propane deal. A pair of these kind of tongs is a must. Although they are metal, they just work really good for everything. So yes, you're taking that with you. This kind of spatula is a bit big and does not really work, so I would suggest a different style spatula. Maybe a nice knife. That griddle thing right there, yeah, that's a must. You should take that with you too, if you got room. If not, that cast iron will be fine. But if you got room, that's a pretty cool little piece. The bug guard stuff, yeah, that stuff works really good. That's some stuff from Avon. Fire starting sticks, we use those a couple times, so I'd bring those with us. Head nets, absolutely. I'm about to put one on myself right now, and I'm at home. Salt, as long as you don't turn it upside down, is really cool. Pepper is good to have, and that's just easy. And then I got a knife down there, that's a must, and a knife sharpener, that's a must. So a good knife sharpener, but if you get a good knife, you could probably eliminate a good bit of that stuff, like the spatula, the knife. Yeah, just a real good knife. And I think I've got just the right design for one. From there on, you have, we got silverware and stuff like that. We got to take all that stuff out and clean it up. But yeah, so that's what we have in the kitchen. Sorry, I didn't touch on this one-person mess kit here. That's just a cheap Academy brand. Works out good. It works out real good. Yeah, so even if you don't use the stuff to cook with, you can use it as storage for your fridge if you've got one, or cooler. Alright, so as far as the shovel goes, yeah, the shovel, you know, again, that big shovel there, you could take it or leave it. I think had we had to use a shovel for any real digging, then that would have been the one to go. Luckily, we did not have to, though. Up here in the rack, though, as you can see, you get the little shovel. The little shovel is an absolute must bring. You bring that guy with you everywhere. And then you have the recovery boards. Again, luckily we did not have to use them, but it's an absolute must bring, because had I needed them, then they would have been there for me. Again, luckily we did not need them, though. So that's it as far as all the things that I brought with me on the trip, USA on Dirt. And hope you guys kind of get an idea of some of the things that you would need for your own expedition. And again, the main thing for these videos is just to show you guys that you don't need thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. You just kind of need some basic stuff. So hopefully you guys could take something away from these videos. Till next time, I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to subscribe for all the newest episodes of USA on Dirt, as I have a lot of video editing to do. And also you'll be notified all the new videos that I put up. Also stay tuned. I'm going to be building some kind of a system there as far as in the back of the 4Runner to give me some kind of a single person camping setup with a platform a little bit more permanent. So stay tuned. Appreciate you watching. Peace.